When I was a kid in the 90s and 2000s, I was a huge F1 fan, just like many people in Germany. I would never miss a race on Sundays. And part what makes F1 great are the tracks, the unique tracks, the traditional ones, like Monza, Spa, Monaco. It's not so much whether you like them or not, but they are traditional. And there was also one track that was also traditional to Formula 1. And that was Hockenheim. And I remember in 2002, when I was watching the Hockenheim race, the German Grand Prix, I remember the cars always going along straight down. But then on that day, the 2002 Grand Prix, I saw the cars turning into the now known as the Parabolica. And I didn't understand that. I thought something odd is going on. I just don't remember the track to be like this. So I was flabbergasted. And of course later on I figured out what happened. And today we are here on a hike to visit the old sections of the Hockenheim that once made this track great. Here we have logs, and this is the old straight back. You can even see the markings. It would come out of this bush, or what is now a bush, and then bullet straight down here. Over there to my right, somewhere down there, that's where the section from the Ostkurve, the place where the cars would basically turn around and go back, there was a section. It's now just this I guess farmer's place or something, because I think I see some sheep back there. You can't even go there anymore. This old section does not exist anymore. It's this field of sheeps, sorta. So I'm trying to find my way to the Ostkurve, the former one, and see what it looks like there. It's kind of difficult to find all these old places because everything is fenced up. Right next to me, I'm sure if you're from here and you know this forest, then you know which way to get to all these places, but I'm not from here, so I need to somehow find these places on my own without getting lost. Well, it was quite a long hike along some isolated trails to get here, but I'm basically at the first chicane of the old Hockenheimring. This is basically it. Over there is where the cars would have used to come, and behind me is where they used to go. And this section right here is where the chicane was. Down here we have a water pond. You can hear a bunch of, I think, ducks or some other birds having found their place there. And yeah, this is what's left. And what people said on the internet, I thought that this wouldn't be forested up so much as it is. I thought it was a lot less, and you could actually clearly see the path of the old track. But after all these years, as you can see, nature took it all back. So there are trees everywhere behind me. You don't really see where the track used to go, and yeah, that's basically it. And this right here is what's left of the old straight. Just a regular walking path in the forest, which could be anywhere really. And this is basically where the grandstands used to be, at the first chicane. The chicane is basically right behind these hills, what I just showed you, and right here were the grandstands. Well, you gotta take some really nasty hikes to get anywhere here. The track used to run here right next to me, but there's a fence now. There's something else here. There's not even the slightest bit of anything that would resemble that a track used to run here. As the hike gets more unpleasant and I'm trying to find the old Ostkurve, it's about time maybe that I explain a little bit of what happened. You see, in the 90s, motorsports were really popular in Germany. Of course, with Michael Schumacher dominating F1, it sent a wave through the country. And two things happened. On one hand, Hockenheim themselves wanted to upgrade their track. They wanted to build out the stadium to allow more people to actually enjoy the race in person. And on the other hand, Formula One wanted a new track. They didn't like this old long section anymore. They wanted a shorter version. And they were very firm about it, to the point that they threatened to not run races on Hockenheimring anymore. So the deal was, or the pressure I should say, was that Hockenheim will shorten the track, and then F1 will continue to race from 2002 and beyond. So what happened? Hermann Tilke, the controversial architect and track designer, was hired for the job. And a lot of people blame him for this track actually having been cut down, but it wasn't him at all. He never planned any of this, contrary to popular belief. He just designed shortcuts to shorten the track without affecting the old sections. And one of those solutions was the parabolica that we have now. Because that shortcut really is not what caused this to go away. However, in order to get a permit to build the new track, which required to cut down trees, politics got involved. And parties that are rather environmentally friendly or ecological, they were not cool with the idea that they would cut down trees just to build a short section of a racetrack. Cutting down trees and racetrack are usually two words that you can't put in one sentence together if you're an ecological person, right? And they basically then forced Hockenheim to accept that, they offered them the deal, okay, you can cut down the trees, but you have to sacrifice the old sections and you have to reforest them, give them back to nature. Well, in Hockenheim, under as much pressure as they were, they caved in order to, because they had to be ready for the next Grand Prix in 2002. So they only had 1 year to get it all done. And in order to make that happen and to keep F1 here, they decided to do what they did, to sacrifice the old sections, which was definitely not an easy decision to make for them, and then build a new section. This is the story of what happened. And then in 2002 we were all surprised when the cars right after turn 1 didn't speed up but slowed down for an early chicane. At least that's how I interpreted it. I remember questioning my memory when I saw that. I remember this track being so long, so many long straights, such high speeds, and suddenly they were turning into this curve. It just seemed alien to me. Damn, it's like walking in a jungle trying to find these places. But here it is. This is the Ostkurve. Right here. That's where the cars used to come from. There was a chicane right here somewhere. And then they would speed around the corner away into the back straight to go back into the stadium. This is what it looks like. These hills are where the grandstands used to be. Whoa. Just some bug flew by right next to me. And right now we have some biotope here that we're not allowed to enter. So that's what's left of this place. As a motorsports fan, it's kind of sad to look at. But I guess for someone who doesn't care. But that's what it is. And I don't know if you can see that, but this is the old section right here. And down there you see there's a cow. A cow walking on the old Hockenheimring. So I just read this sign right here, and it basically talks about that this is a biotope for animals now, for sheep, for other animals that were given this place basically to roam around freely. Obviously not only sheep, because down there we can also see cows. I see 4 of them. I don't know if the camera picks them up right there. Yeah, that's what's left of all this. And to just put it into perspective, how not long ago this really is, when this was a racetrack, which now almost nothing resembles a racetrack anymore. Fernando Alonso, who is still driving in F1, he's the only remaining driver that actually got to race this old track in 2001 in his debut season. Recent retired drivers like Kimi Räikkönen and Jenson Button a couple of years back have also raced on this old track. But from the current grid, it's only Fernando Alonso that can tell the other drivers about the old days of what it was like to race here. So as I'm leaving the Ostkurve behind, or actually to my left, just down there basically, in the old days you would have a lot of noise here of cars going by. You would hear them. Right now you just hear nature. Well, anyways, I wanted to finish the story about Hockenheim. So how did it continue? Well, Hockenheim has never really recovered financially from this. they built a bigger motodrome, so the grandstand in the stadium section. They had to build a new section, the shortcut, and they had to reforest the old section, which it is a deadly combination to basically build a bigger grandstand and renovate the track and all, but then lose your legendary straights, which really were what Hockenheim was known for. That's a deadly combination, and they never recovered financially. They were able to host a couple of Grand Prix, but later they couldn't even afford it annually. So as we know, they had it every other year. And in 2019, I think, they held the last Formula 1 Grand Prix at Hockenheim. And currently, I don't know what the plans are, if they're going to get them back or not. We shall see with time, but I can imagine that the prices have hiked up so much, and a lot of tracks are actually struggling with that nowadays, not just Hockenheim, that I don't believe we're going to see Hockenheim in anytime soon here. Another fact, though, is that Hockenheim, after they rebuilt the track and started the new races on the new track, they couldn't gain any revenue from it, or just simply not enough, maybe just enough to pay the bills, which caused them to end up in financial jeopardy. And they asked the local government here for some assistance, the very local government that basically forced them to tear out their old sections. Yeah, and they basically left them in the dust. They didn't get any financial help, so they were on their own, and well, you know the rest. As I just said, they only had to races every 2 years, and that's it. From my research, the last driver to actually win a race on the old track was Ralf Schumacher, so no one will ever beat him out of the statistics there. Michael Schumacher, to my knowledge, only won once on the old track. He won a couple of times on the new one. So, but that was his dominating phase then on the new one, basically. And yeah, from what we've seen, it is so forested up right now that this track is definitely not coming back. So there are some people that kind of dream of that. Well, at this point, there is no getting it back. If anything, it would be building a new one. That is how reforested it is. You just can't reach many parts of it. It's all treed up. So we really only have the two sections, the chicane, the first one, and then the Ostkurve, where the grandstands used to be. That's really the only things I could find where you could kind of still see that it was a track at some point. Well, anyways, that's it. I'm heading back to my car, and see you next time. Bye bye.